Hey, this is Crap Hunter, and welcome to the GDTV podcast. With me today is our
Guys.
Hello.
Daimyo,
Hello.
Coldmeat247,
How's it going?
host Crap, and guys, now the subject today is going to be one basic subject. We're going to have a massive discussion over it. Rome 2. Now, recently, the latest faction has been announced, Egypt. My question, the thing is, since we've got that ball, Rome, Carthage, done. Bernie, say it, Super, Path, or Swaby, mistake.
Yeah.
What do you think selection factions the playable one?
Who are you asking? Any
All
of
of
us?
you guys. Yes.
All
in
of me?
turn. Yes, all of you.
Okay. I am quite pleased with the majority. I especially am pleased with the Iceni, so we can actually have a specialised British one to focus on. But I think it's good that they're splitting the largest factions, like such as Rome, Carthage, Macedon, into kind of 3 separate groups that you can play as, each focusing on like a different kind of economic, military, etc. And it's good that they've got factions from each corners of Europe and Asia and Africa. Hopefully they'll release more playable factions. Maybe they'll do that as DLC. But I personally am pretty happy with the choices. Yeah.
Okay. Rexasaur, what do you think of it?
Well, I agree with Alex that the factions that are released are pretty, it's a good core of factions. I am a bit disappointed that there was no Seleucids or Greeks straight off the bat. I assume, like Alex, that'll be DLC. Also, the splitting off of factions, although that's a good thing for the big ones, I think for like Gaul and Britain, what they probably should have done is instead of having the main tribe as the tribe that you can split into 3, that instead they could have had 3 minor tribes. I think that would have been better than just having one big tribe split off into 3. Yeah,
Right.
that's what I think.
Okay. Daimyo, what do you think?
Overall, I'm quite happy. I think that probably they could split the Greek city-states, like split them up into like Sparta, Thebes, Athens.
Yeah.
But overall, I'm quite happy with them. I like the diversity as well. The Eastern factions, the Western, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with them overall.
That's cool. That's cool. Coldmeat, what do you think?
On my side, so far, I gotta say I'm pretty happy with what's happening with Rome 2 in general. So far, showing faction, it's a good thing. We have what, 7? You just named 7, right?
Yeah.
7 or 8?
7. Yeah. There's apparently on the site extra little mo. I think it's a section that they're going to release, or like probably something like if you pre-order a limited edition or something like that.
Okay, but I wouldn't be surprised that they release at least another 2 or 3 factions, just to keep the show going.
Yeah.
So far, it's pretty good. I'm not, I always stay, I'm not, like I said, I'm not super positive right now about everything that's been happening with Rome 2. I like the factions. I'm really happy so far. The models look really cool. What we can see, I mean, we didn't see much from Egypt because that's the last faction that just came out. We didn't see much. I mean, it's just a screenshot so far. That's about it.
Yeah.
If this is a real screenshot, but so far in everything, I think it will be pretty complete. We have all kind of factions, and if I gotta agree with the other guys that maybe going for some other, maybe split, have Gaul, have Britannia, or something like that. Maybe split some of the Greeks also.
Okay. Well, that's pretty. So, if you had the option, what kind of faction would to see playable one? And, obviously, we'll discuss these inside the thing. So, like, if you could like personally choose a faction to play as, what would it be?
Probably, I would have liked to see a Seleucid Empire somewhere in there, because I think because Egypt is quite near Carthage, and if we look at the map as a whole, Parthia takes off most of India, that sort of area of the map, and then you have Egypt, and then you have all this gap in the middle, which will probably be it'll probably be Seleucid, but not playable until like later, unless of course the
mods.
secret faction is Seleucid Empire, which I will be forever happy with.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Seleucid Empire is my faction I would have liked to see.
Cold Meat, what do you think? What kind of faction would you want to have?
right now, I'm gonna say I'm pretty happy because I play Rome Total War to play with Romans. That's what I want. So I have my Romans. I mean Egypt. I'm pretty happy because I'm playing Egypt right now with the old Rome Total War. Of course, I want to see new troops and everything. So right now, I gotta say that the faction, I wouldn't be able to, you know, add an extra faction to that. I'm gonna let them release the probably the 2 or 3 factions left. But I'm really happy with what's happening just because I want to play Romans. That's what I want to do.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's my thing.
Okay.
Fair.
Rambler, what do you think? What kind of factions would you like to see?
I'd agree with Rexasaur that I'd like the Seleucids just because they were such the size of them. I'd also like to have the silent Daimyo, that's it. What he touched on with the Greek city-states, that would be quite interesting to have them released as kind of mini factions that you could pick anyone you wanted really, because they were scattered all over Europe, really, weren't they?
Oh, yeah.
At that time, all over the place.
I want my
So
Spartans. Yeah.
yes, they would also have been the Spartans. But yeah, I think they would be quite interesting players to even to have wars amongst themselves. Yeah, but I'm to be honest, I'm either going to play as Carthage or Rome to start off with, so I'm happy with those two myself.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And finally, Daimyo. Well, what faction?
I think I would like to see some of the smaller barbarian sort of factions, like the Illyrians, the Sarmatians,
Thrace
and
as
the
well.
and Thrace, yes. Just to add a bit more, I don't know, a bit more replayability,
I think
but
the in the actual game, obviously, these are the only factions. So there's going to be a lot more factions that will straight away, which I think we sort of know that they're there. So there are factions from Mydia, well, obviously, because of Carthage, and that would be fun.
Imagine it would be like of kind of smaller.
Yeah, like
minor
individual
nations.
cities, yeah.
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 I
Well, that's what
see.
they said they would have instead of rebels. They would just have the individual cities.
Okay,
Hmm.
well,
It makes sense.
Yeah, it's quite good. Here's a little silly. What do you think the mysterious extra symbol is at the bottom of the factions page on Rome 2 Wiki is? Do you think it's... What do you think? Is it like a clue to something, or... cold meat?
No, I just think it's something that is gonna get people talking. It's probably nothing. It might disappear. Who knows?
Just someone thought, hey guys, look what we can do.
Yeah,
Oh! I
it
can
might
imagine
be
that at
that.
the meeting as well. It's like, yo, let's not do anything with that symbol. The entire
That's
group
just-
are like, my god.
It might be that. Maybe somebody in the group working on the page had a good idea and he just didn't really work on it.
Yeah, or
But,
it's a April's Fools. Actually, it could be.
It's not
might
even
be.
April, though.
It's a bit
Yeah,
early.
but I mean, it's there, and then
Happy
they'll
March,
release it.
fools!
They'll release it on the 1st of April, and then go, "I was opening April Fools."
Oh, so it's a bit
Yeah.
like...
Like
what
the
YouTube
Amazon
tend to do.
faction.
Yeah. Well, fair enough on that one. Rambler, what do you think?
What are the little icon at the bottom?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going to try not to speculate because I don't want to get my hopes up. But it might be some awesome addition. So I don't want to speculate.
Oh, good call then. Fair enough. A wise decision indeed. So here's a question for you guys. When Rome 2 comes out, obviously it's going to be massively popular as vanilla as well. But do you think would you like to see, in a sense, the return of some more of the famous mods, like, for example, Darth mod, Roma Surrectum, Rome Total Realism? Would you feel that by what you've seen already in the game, that mods may actually be necessary at any point?
I wouldn't know until I've played it, really. But Darth Mod won't be doing Rome 2, I don't believe. I think he's stopping now.
Was he not?
So, yeah.
Ah.
I think I'm right thinking that.
I think the reason I sort of put that question under the questions list to ask was because Rome Total War as a game is used so much now, less in vanilla but more in mods. So many people have modded it, and there are so many mods for it that it's just, would it happen for Rome 2 is the actual question I'm trying to put across.
Yeah.
Because I play Rome Total Realism so much on now. So if there was a Rome Total Realism mod for Rome 2, obviously you'd have to know if it's necessary, because the reason it was done was because of the historically inaccuracies. So if Rome 2 is obviously historically accurate to a more of extent than the vanilla Rome Total War, then obviously it won't be necessary.
But
Yeah,
then, oh, are you saying?
No, that's my point.
Oh, I was just going to say, because I reckon due to a lack of multiple factions, there's going to be... I mean, I don't know if you guys remember, but do you know there was that... I can't remember what it's called, that mod which just allowed you just to play loads of the mini countries in, like, Napoleon and Empire. A friend of mine thinks that was the only mod he ever really needed, because half the time people were making these things that were game-changing.
Yes.
And
The total faction mod.
yeah, that was it.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure they'll do that because I think with Shogun 2 you can unlock all the factions like that. Because they might lock certain coding out for DLC, etc. So I'm not sure if that'll be an option like it was with
Yeah.
earlier games.
I hope there isn't any like major DLC thing, because it'll be just like all the massive like.
Oh, there'll be plenty of DLC.
Yeah. Let's all be honest here. Yes, Creative Assembly will probably juice the lemon. That's my expression. But yeah, look at Shogun 2. I mean, $5 just to get blood in the game.
$5. It was only a quid for us.
It's only a quid for us.
Yeah, I know. So I mean, yes, in my opinion, mods, yes, we'll have tons of them. The reason is so far Creative Assembly cannot get the AI in battle right. It's you can look at all the games if you want, all the Total War games that came out so far. I played the first Shogun Total War until today, so I've been playing this for almost 15 years, and the AI always get buggy at some point, or just charge the general right in front of your archers, or there's always something happening. So I think yes, there's gonna be lots of mods. I cannot talk for Darty. Well, I call him Darty because he's one of my friends. I cannot talk for Nick Tomadis. That's his real name. You guys know him as Dartmod. Most of you.
Yeah.
Or Holy God in some cases of modding.
Yes. I can't talk for him, but the thing is, he's probably going to be playing the game, and I don't think he will be able to resist trying to just make the game better.
Yeah.
So I think definitely we will probably have something coming from him. Maybe not something as big as he did, let's say, for Shogun 2 or Empire Total War.
He might just do an AI overhaul mod rather than Darth mod.
Start with something small and then maybe make it bigger eventually. But definitely we'll have a bunch of people working on it. People always disagree on something. On each of those games, people always disagree on something. Whatever it's historical, whatever it's the AI, the map, there's always something to that need to be,
improved,
worked on or improved. Exactly. So I think we'll have a lot of people working on Rome 2, and yes, I think we could have some excellent mods coming out of this, and especially if Nick, Mr. Darth Vader himself, works on something, because I mean, for me, the units are never big enough.
Yeah. Amen.
The
to
more
that.
men, the merrier.
Yeah.
That's one thing. The units are never big enough, and apparently we'll be able to roll. You'll be able to actually play Rome 2 if your computer is able to handle Empire Total War. You're supposed to be able to play Rome 2. So I'm sure the units will not be big enough. The battles
it's said
not big
that the
enough.
potentially, I think the highest unit tier is
What the hell was that?
is 240 men. I think I think that's on
Was that-
large.
It was that large.
240. Yeah, that's only on large. So huge will be like
400.
more. Yeah, maybe something like that, or 300 and something. So
Yeah.
That's good because I want to use my graphic card when I play this. I mean, I don't want to, I understand that most people don't have, super huge computers.
yeah,
But for the guys that actually have the equipment and want to see the game in full, big units, big battles.
Well, I understand how that, because most people don't have amazing computers. Putting it on on normal size, putting it only like 100 men or something in a unit, or 120 is good. But then instead of just having it have it an increase of only 40 men per unit size tier, they should really just put, you can have 800 men in a unit if you want to play on huge.
That
Just
would be amazing.
for the fun of
I
it.
think there should be like you can type in how many men you want in a unit. That
would be
might
cool.
help, but then there'll be issues with
Yeah, well, there's
scripting
also
distance.
there's a map. Like you sort of, if you put like 1,000 men in a unit, you've got a map which is, small. It's not
Yeah.
really going to work.
No.
I've read somewhere that where they said that you could get like 40,000 men into an army.
That's impressive. But, I mean, I
Jeez.
mean, I saw like the gameplay preview, and I know I was looking at the Carthage gameplay, and admittedly, yeah, it was pre-alpha. But what they would, I think the bit that was kind of in a sense worrying me for unit sizes was how from 1 minute you could go from a really high perspective to see like crap ton of units running into the city, and then it went straight down into the individual units and soldiers, and I'm like. I mean, I have this policy which is the more time you spend on the unit itself, the harder it will be for the engine to be able to process all this. Therefore, you will, yes, as Colby was saying, how sometimes the unit could just never be big enough. So I'm
Mm.
kind of fingers crossing it doesn't really matter, and I'm just watching a pre-alpha trailer, but I'm also kind of worried that the detail that they're going to put into the units may require them to sacrifice unit sizes.
We'll see.
Indeed,
We
we
will
will.
see.
Okay, for the next question. Now, I'm not. Unfortunately, my experience online for Total War games is absolutely crap. But from what I do know, one of the more popular reasons for Rome was the fact that you could have free-for-all multiplayer. Now, I have heard, so touch wood, no one kills me for this, that they will not include free-for-all multiplayer in Rome 2. What do you guys feel about Rome Total War 2's multiplayer? Have you heard much about it, or do you agree with what they're doing with it?
Right there, I'll tell you guys, I think it's gonna be as much crap than Shogun 2. It's
Oh
gonna be
no.
the same thing. I know. I'm sorry, but it's really hard to balance. It's really, really difficult to balance 10 factions, right? They're gonna be adding characters to that and special abilities and all that stuff. And unfortunately, as you know, if maybe you guys didn't play Shogun 2 online, right now, if you try to play Shogun 2 online, it's impossible. Just you're wasting your time. You're
I
wasting your time.
I
People
have
that have been
tried.
playing for a year will just destroy you.
Yeah, I
I've
That's
dabbled
how
in
it
it
is.
once, and I actually won one, but I think that was more for the fact that the player who I was facing might have had severe lag problems because he didn't react fast enough. I'm
Mm.
being
Yeah,
polite here, so
I've played Shogun 2 online. Also, and the thing with Shogun 2 is that because every single player had the same unit selections, they well, to a certain degree, I mean, depending on what faction they chose, they got
mm,
bonuses in like cavalry or something. But what really worked with Rome Total War was the fact that in the multiplayer was the fact that because each unit was different, and there was no of this. Your general can get experience levels, and you get these special
yeah,
perks and stuff. I
Hmm.
mean, if they abolished that, which obviously would, I don't know. I don't know if it would make the multiplayer less interesting, but
I
uh,
agree.
it's just if the multiplayer was the same as in Rome Total War,
Mm,
well, not the same but similar, and that you as a like instead of you have this individual general who actually features in the battle,
mm.
you as a player gets leveled up. Just oh, you win this battle, so you as a player gets experience. I would see that working, but yeah.
I agree, because from the many videos that I watched of famous people like Prince of Macedon, Heir of Carthage, I've noted that whenever they were playing Rome Total War, it was I found it very entertaining simply because it wasn't just, oh, my general, as in most cases, could deploy and see what your opponent was. I don't know if any of you guys have played Shogun Online, but whenever I did it,
Yep.
the enemy general had this perk to let him see what I was deploying. But
Hmm.
in this one, whenever I was watching Rome videos, it was like, right, so I'm going to use my, cavalry from Greece that are superior in a sense to, I don't know, was going examples here to the Gauls, because the Gauls don't know how to deal with cavalry. So, and it was just that variety of units made it so much more entertaining, because it was like it was balanced yet unbalanced. You had one strength, but there was a major weakness to it. If you know what I mean, like. I can't find a way of
Mhm.
describing it in the way that makes sense. But
Yeah, well, like barbarians are a
yeah,
really high punch power if you
Yeah.
get it right, but also really once they start breaking, they all break.
Yeah,
It's that sort
exactly.
of major strength, but also major weakness at the same time.
yeah,
On my side, what I don't want to see is experience. I don't want to see any experience. You cannot add experience to a particular
Well-
general or something like that on competitive gaming.
Yeah, apparently not in the single player in the campaigns. Your units will actually get experience as well.
For sure, and that's all right.
Yeah,
But you
online,
can-
yeah, I see what you mean online competitive gaming. Because I mean, Rome Total War is played still so much online compared to previous Total Wars, except for maybe Shogun 2 and Napoleon. But I mean, compared to Medieval 2, which has been like thrown away almost the online, because you have no limitation to you have like money limitations, but because it's even the depending on what troop you take, they cost more or less, and that works because there's no like experience barriers or anything. If you
yeah.
want something good, you're going to spend a lot of money on it, in-game money, and that's how it works. And I
and
think it's the
victory has to be based on strategy. I
Yeah.
don't want to deviate too much here, but if we talk, let's talk about competitive gaming. Let's talk about StarCraft. You know, StarCraft has nothing to do with Total War. I agree. But when you play competition, when you play against other players, you don't have one of those Marine with 16 freaking points of experience with all kind of skills on it. You know,
Yeah.
you start with the basic army. You don't pick your troop in that case. You build your base and you make, you train your own troops. But everybody has the same chance. It's all based on strategy.
Yeah,
Well, yeah.
everybody having the same chance is one of the big ones.
Well-
Let's hope that that's what Rome 2 multiplayer is.
Well, to be honest, something tells me that if Rome 2 is going to go down the same aisle, I mean, if Rome's going to do down the same aisle, it's kind of pointless hoping to God that they will do it, because unfortunately, like with the Call of Duty franchise, what sells is what goes. So unfortunately, we will probably see a level up thing for your character, and I just find it as a bit. I just don't like the sound of corruption within the Rome thing, because I've played Total War series since I played Rome, so yeah. Rambler and Daimyo, sorry, we've been talking a lot and you haven't had a chance to say anything. What do you think about the multiplayer? Do you agree with us, or
Bring back free for all.
Okay.
That's all.
Daimyo, what do you think?
They.
In a
Okay.
sense, I agree with the no XP, but then the people that are coming into Total War, they're going to be like as sort of Shogun 2 was. They want to get more people to play, and they want I don't know, and they want to add a bit more of a replayability value. I think by wanting to get to a certain level before, for example, their friend does get to a certain to level 8 while you're at level 9. I don't know. It's a tough one.
I think you can, if you want, you can give ranks to the player, but a bit like they've been doing in most of the, and anything that's multiplayer and competitive, like let's say StarCraft, you play, you get, and you get into certain ladders or certain levels that you can face other players. That is fine to me. Even LOL has been doing that. So you get into bronze and silver and gold levels, and you face other higher ranked player. That's fine.
Yeah, I think that they should do that with instead of leveling up your army, leveling up the player as a player.
Yeah.
So depending on how many victories you have, you enter bronze general level or
what
something.
about here's something. I mean, obviously with the general thing, but wouldn't it be kind of cool if we had? I think one of the things I liked the most about the Shogun thing was the fact that you could customize your avatar. Now, I think, wouldn't it be cool if you could have nothing. You have a general which you could customize his avatar, but nothing that actually impacts the game. Only for aesthetical look. So, for example, you could have this
A
Romano
pink
guy.
Roman legion.
Yeah, like not maybe for your troops, but for your general. So you could have a general who's like, the traditional Roman general, and then maybe instead of the massive red, the red thing on his helmet, I can't remember what his name, so any historical people will probably want to kill me now. You might instead have like a cat on the top, or like a bear skin around his cavalry. Something which is aesthetically pleasing, so that way it adds uniqueness, but keeps within that's all you get to unlock. You only get to unlock fancy bits for your
I think
general.
being
Sure.
able to
Yeah, go ahead.
being able to change your army as a whole, so that your army is individual compared. Because in Shogun 2, one thing that I liked was that the army that you played as your army, basically, you had your own army name and everything, and it was your color scheme, your banner, everything is yours, and that didn't impact the game.
No.
As such, it just looked cool. Because I mean, look, these are my red devils, and they're red.
Listen to that, Mister the Rambler. Those guys want to play Barbie. They don't want to play Rome Total War. They want to play Barbie. I want to dress up my little samurai the way I want, and I want colors the way I want, and a new helmet and stuff. I don't care about that. I actually do not care about that. They should just maybe release DLCs for that. I have a big bunch of stuff, on the DLCs, but unlocking that stuff, come on.
Well,
Then-
no, I don't think it should just be unlocked. I just think it should be there in the first place.
Yeah, I mean,
it should.
I mean, if it's
definitely.
not there, then I don't mind.
I mean, I
but
don't-
it'd be cool if it was there.
Okay, well, Pablo, what do you
go-
think about it?
Well, we've been talking about a lot of the competitive side of Shogun 2. You can still make custom battles and still have
Yeah, that is.
have all the units available, so you don't have to do the competitive side. If they have both of the options, so they can cater to both sides, the people who like competitive and want to kind of rank up their army and stuff like that, then that's fine. But I think they should have a separate competitive-ish side where you just have, like Coldmeat said, with the levels, where you rank yourself and just be able to pick your units individually, like you have a set amount of money to spend your army on, like you can do with all the Total War games set up with custom battle that way. I'd be happy with that. And also, if they bring up multiplayer campaign, that'd be good too.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say
having a either a co-op that included more than two people, or a multiplayer versus like a campaign where you're against other players. That would be amazing.
I mean, I was gonna say it would be kind of nice to be able to have a Rome campaign, and you either like four of your mates, so one of them plays as the Roman Julii, Scipii, Brutii, and then one of your more dickish friends plays as the Senate, and has the ability to say, "You go over there," and you're like, "I'm gonna overrun you one day." I hated the Senate when I was playing through on Rome, but no, that would be kind of cool if we had like multiple things. For the competitive though, do you think competitive campaign would like work, considering it takes a bloody long time to do something some days?
The
Well,
multiplayer campaign.
Because it's based on something historical. That is the problem. A competitive campaign, we would need to have a bigger map for that, and
Well, the map has been increased.
Has
Quite
it?
a
I
bit.
haven't heard
Yes,
anything detail-wise.
it is. It goes off to the edge of India, I think.
Does it?
Yeah,
Ooh.
I think. I might be completely wrong, but it is bigger. It is a bigger map.
yeah, but we're not talking about a map like Planet Side 2, with a lot of territories
Yeah.
that people can spawn on.
But I
it,
think
and,
the map itself is bigger. Like because in Rome, in vanilla Rome, Rome,
Tiny.
like the city was pretty much less than a kilometer away from Capua. I mean, the size is tiny, but in this one, the size of the map has been increased quite considerably.
Yeah,
I would say at least 3 times.
Yay.
Because each
first.
region, apparently, each region will have provinces inside them.
Ooh.
So they'll be a bit like Hearts of Iron, where there's lots of little pockets of territory.
Oh, there's going to be...
Yeah.
Alright.
Here's a question for you guys on the subject of the regions and stuff. Is there going to be such things in Rome, like there was in the Napoleon and Empire and Shogun, religious beliefs or buildings that are useful? Like, for example, in Napoleon, you had schools for education. Is there going to be any research? You know, what kind of...
I don't think there'll be religion,
Well,
unless you
theoret-
get Jewish religion.
Well,
And
theoretically speaking, we've got the Roman gods. I don't know what they're called, like in their terms, but you've also
it's
got
just
paganism,
God.
and you've also got Islam
But
for...
I'm pretty sure the pagan would just, there's so much pagan beliefs that they just get overrun. I don't know. I don't think religion will be introduced in it personally.
I think there will be, because if they're looking to do a good game, they have to give us a good campaign map.
Yeah.
That's something that we've been, they've been leaving out really a little bit. Started with Napoleon Total War and then Shogun 2. I mean, there's not much to do on that campaign map. I mean, we have what? You got 3 agents, that's it.
Yeah.
Religion has always been part of the game because it's historical. So
I mean, in
religion
vanilla,
will still be there.
in vanilla Rome Total War, there wasn't, and it didn't really matter.
No.
So, I mean, if they take
Well,
from Third Age with culture, then I would, instead of having religion, you have
You
culture.
could still build religious buildings which would give you benefits
Oh
to
yeah,
your
yeah,
cities.
yeah, like temples. Yeah, I understand
Yeah.
that. But if they had culture, so like you have Roman culture or Greek culture or
Yeah, okay,
Celtic,
yeah.
that I would agree with that.
Okay.
But religion, maybe not.
Fair enough. Okay, on to another question then. Do you believe that because of the internet age that we live in nowadays, and will there be any official expansions, like for example Shogun's Fall of the Samurai CD, of which I have? Would you think there'll be anything released like that, or will it strictly be DLC?
Uh, it depends on how big the campaign is. For example, Rise of the Samurai, that was just released as a downloadable DLC, whereas Fall of the Samurai was such a big update that they released it on disc. So I guess whatever they think they can make money on, it comes down to a financial side, I guess.
Fair enough. Daimyo?
There's not really much that they've already done before because they've done the Alexander, they've done the fall of the Roman Empire with barbarian invasion. So where would they be able to go with this
Yeah,
new disc?
my thought on this was, would they remake Barbarian Invasion and Alexander, or would they maybe do one specifically, like a smaller one, which is specifically on the Punic Wars, or maybe go with just because the dates will be it'll be all about the Roman Republic, so maybe we'll get an expansion on maybe the Empire as with emperors, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. Coldmeat, what do you think? Would you...
I honestly think that they're gonna probably be releasing maybe 3 expansions after that using this game. In my opinion, it's okay for them if they want to redo the Barbarian Invasion, if they want to redo Alexander, that's fine because those have been released 9 years ago. Let's not forget that they're targeting a new crowd right now, getting new Total War players into the game.
Yeah, that's true.
We're most of us have played the first Rome Total War, so we know that there's a lot of stuff that exists and it's fine. But a lot of new players will not have played the first Rome Total War, so I think it's okay for them if they want to do that. If they want to release as many expansions, as long as we don't have to pay $50 per expansion because it's still the same game.
Yeah.
But definitely, Creative Assembly, a good example is on Shogun 2. How many DLCs do we have on Shogun 2? And
Yeah.
there is a lot for tiny little bits of stuff. So and that honestly, it's okay to go with that. It's okay to go this way because now that's how it is with games. They release a game that's not. I'm not gonna say not finished because the game is finished, but there's always tiny bits and stuff that they just
I
keep
think
aside.
Yeah.
You know,
the way we should look at it is optional add-ons. I
Yeah.
think things that if you really like the game, you want more of. So
Yeah, that
I think
makes
I
sense.
personally, although I don't really like DLC as such, I think that certain games are allowed that sort of DLC, like extra mile, because I mean, Total War games are reasonably priced. I won't say they're extortionate like Call of Duty,
Yeah.
but so I'm okay with paying that extra bit more, just like for the blood pack, which I think the blood pack is just there because obviously the target audience is quite a young audience, so you don't want an 18 game really being
Yeah.
released. But things like extra weapons or the Rise of the Samurai, I think they had like special packs for multiplayer as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I think if you want to go that extra bit forward, then yeah, you can have DL. I don't mind the DLC, to be fair, for Total War. So
Yeah, I quite enjoyed the blood pack for it because I mean, you know, a friend of mine said it wasn't too keeping with the traditional Total War, but I feel it actually I quite liked it because whenever I did my Chosokabe series, when I was doing my Chosokabe series, I often would try and get a shot in where they enemy cavalry, while our cavalry was charging in, because the amount of gore and effects, and it made it look so much better. I have to admit, I'm a bit of a Gore fan. If someone heads flies off, I'm like, woo!
and the thing is that the for the blood pack doesn't make it disgusting gore.
No.
It is just it's almost comedy gore.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
It is-
anime
it's-
sort of.
yeah,
It is. It's just
Really
it's
cartoony
just a
sort of blood.
funny addition. It's like
Yeah.
a half
It's just
serious, but it is a
that-
game after all. So
yeah, true.
Let's not forget, guys, that they're releasing DLC to actually sell more of the main game.
yeah, that is.
If you look at Shogun 2, the game came out in March, and then DLCs came out every 2 months or something,
Yeah,
and expansions also. So it's a good opportunity for the company to actually do publicity and sell the basic, the base game, the base of Rome 2, let's say, when there's expansions coming out.
I also like the fact that was it Fall of the Samurai was a standalone game as well
Yeah.
in its own thing. So I think that was a good
well,
move.
yeah. I mean, one thing before the last question. Would you like to see a Gore mod in Rome too? Would you like
There
to
probably
see
will be. There will
Yeah.
be.
Well, would you like to
Yeah,
see it as
and
your
included in the game.
Yeah.
Included in the game.
Well,
I
let's
think it
hope
should
so.
be. Yeah, it should be toggable rather than.
toggable.
I think that will raise the age rating. That's why they released
Yeah.
it separately.
The
That's
reason
that's
is-
the reason they gave for releasing it separately to Shogun 2.
But I think it should be because you can get free DLC. I mean, Skyrim has free graphics DLC for the game, so it should be free DLC that you have to be 18 to get or something,
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense.
rather than buying it, which
Fair
I think
enough.
it's a bit too much. But
Now, here's the last question. From what we have seen so far in our entire experience, would you say that Rome 2 will be the best Total War that the Creative Assembly team have ever produced, or would you think that there was still things here and there that could have been better, or could be better?
I'll start. No. Nope.
No.
I don't
Alright.
think so.
All right.
I don't think so. We haven't seen a bit of the campaign map. Not even a bit of it. We don't even know what's going to happen on it. And the campaign map is 50% of the game, even more.
Well, I hope it doesn't.
When you
end-
play all by yourself, you spend more time on the campaign map than on battles.
that is true.
Yeah, I
So
think,
we haven't seen
yeah.
a bit of it.
I think 90% of my Total War has been on the campaign map. That's why I'm trying desperately to get my Rome thing to work, which is probably what might end up going for Steam, just because it's like, I love the campaign map of this thing. Rexasaur, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it could have the potential if they get the battles. I mean, we've seen the battles, we've seen alpha footage of the battles, and they look really good. But as Coldmeat says, the campaign map is where we'll be looking at the game for most of it, doing single players, doing our YouTube channels, because I assume most of us are going to be doing a Rome 2 campaign.
Hell yeah.
So a lot of our viewers will be looking at the campaign map as well. So if they make that look good, work well, being simple yet effective, then maybe it could have the potential. But we'll see.
All right.
I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say.
Rambler?
I haven't really seen enough of it to make a judgment. I'd like to think it will match my opinion that I had on Rome when I was first playing it, which was one of mind-blowing awesomeness. But I'll just have to see. I'm gonna again reserve my judgment until I see more of it.
Daimyo?
I completely agree with what everybody else has said, but I do think that it has potential, as Rexasaur said. But then again, I don't think they can. There's not with the new features that they're going to add to it, such as the naval and land battles. That might make or break the game. Depends on how well they do it, really.
I had I'm going to say a quote from one of my friends. The reason that they really liked Rome Total War was because it was so beautifully simple. It was the graphics were, although they weren't perfect, they were simple, and it just works so well that's why Rome Total War is seen as the best Total War game. Well, in my opinion, and in quite a few people's opinion, it's seen as the best Total War game to date.
Yeah.
So, keeping the game beautifully simple, I think, will make it the best game out there.
I mean, referring back to the campaign map, I don't know whether you guys ever had this, but when I first started playing Rome, I think it was mentioned even in the tutorial, where the Rome was like, you see that building in the campaign map, and then when you zoom into the battle, there it is on the battle thing. And whenever I was doing that, whenever I played Shogun, I kept looking around, and I'm like, that's Suo Castle. That's the other castle. I don't know why. One thing that I love the most about Rome Total War and about the Total War games is the ability to see the towns in the distance, like the towns that you're defending or the environments that you're in. Like it zooms straight into that spot, and you're like,
it
I
gives
love
it a unique look.
Yeah, I love that every time.
I mean,
it still
compared
impresses
to
me.
a lot of RTS games, when you get into a battle map, because like Imperial Glory, which is a game that I've played, which is a bit like
I've played that.
It doesn't have that, and I do like that for Total War, and it probably will continue doing that. It is a unique selling point, which it has.
True, but fingers crossed it goes over. Coldmeat, what do you think about that? Like, were you overall impressed with it, or do you not really mind about that too much?
With Rome Total War, I liked it, but I gotta say, I played Medieval 2 right after that, and Medieval 2 just came in with a whole bunch of new things and stuff that you can use. Let's all be honest, in the Rome Total War, the agents are not useful whatsoever except for the spy.
That's true. That is true.
It's the diplomat, okay. The diplomat is okay as soon as you have all your trade rights. We're done with this. The assassin, there's no way to train your assassin, so you basically lose them all the time. The spy is kind of good, but you can still build watchtowers if you want, So
it's true.
when they came out with Medieval 2, which I think Medieval 2 is still the best Total War game, agents in Medieval 2 are important. All of them, the priest, merchant, spy, assassins. You can train those guys. You can use them. And that's really something I want to see in Rome 2. I'm not talking to a level of, let's say, Europa Universalis that it's only a campaign map, right? Or Crusader Kings or something like that. I don't want to just play campaign map. But there is more to the game than just training armies and taking cities. And that's why that's really what I want to see. I want to see a little bit more than just that.
I think because obviously it's a Total War game, so you can expect that it will be based a largely amount on war, but having it also a little diplomacy aspect of it, like being able to talk your way into getting a city, maybe through vassalage, like because I mean you could.
Is that even a word? Vassalage?
Yes, that is a word.
Okay.
You could in Total War you could get a faction to be your protectorate, which I've never managed, but I think having that being able to do that in Rome 2. Where it would actually, protect you and count as your faction, but not as your city. Like it would be an AI controlled city, but would still work to your faction. I think that would be an interesting addition. Yes.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I just want to see more. I want to see more details on that campaign map before I say that Rome 2 is going to be a great game.
Yeah.
Showing me battles right now, that's awesome. You're showing me that you can make nice models and that you can actually record a battle with them. That's great. But the rest around it, I mean, if honestly, if we get into something that looks like Napoleon Total War, that you don't actually really control the game in Napoleon Total War, and there's no agents that are useful in Napoleon Total War. If we get to that level, something that's a bit too easy to play, and there's really nothing going on the campaign map, I'll be really disappointed.
I don't.
I'll be
yeah.
really disappointed.
I don't think we'll go to that, like, because I think most of the time, I suppose, what made it difficult for agents in Napoleon and Empire was the fact that most of the combat was more standing still and firing at something, whereas with Rome, you're going to have to deal with close quarters combat, a variety of ranged and, as I said, melee units. You've got horse-mounted units.
Well, it's different.
Environmental
It's different.
weapons as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Different. It's a different age, so it's a different type of warfare.
Well,
Completely
exactly.
different. So, I mean, some people enjoy the static Empire Total War, Napoleon Total War warfare, but that's that's for people to that's people's opinions really.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm more of an infantryman myself, so I don't know why I never really got into cavalry much. I'm just like, yeah, cavalry, I can kill it, and I prefer infantry. But now, it's so okay, fair enough. So that was the podcast. Thank you all very much for joining us. We do appreciate it. So that was with us. We have Rexasaur.
See you guys. Thanks for having me on.
We have had the Rambler,
Oh, thanks for having me.
the Silent Daimyo,
Thank you.
and Coldmeat247. Thank you very much for joining us.
All right, and thank you for inviting me.
No
Nice.
problem. And
No
I was
problem.
your host, Crap Hunter. Rates, likes, subscriptions are always appreciated. And if you have any of your personal opinions of what we've been talking about, please feel free to put it in the comments section down below. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and this is Crap Hunter signing out. Cheers.